What's going on, fellas? I've got a 2006 Ford Mustang here, and I'm going to use this car to point out to you the location of various fuses and the relay for the operation of the low beams and the high beams as well. So we're going to start under the hood, where I can point out to you all those things. And I'm also going to show you how the wiring is for the switch. So here we are under the hood. I want to first talk about the low beams. They have no direct fuse or relay. They are instead powered by the low current module, which is inside of the vehicle. You may consider this to be a body control module, but Ford calls it a low current module. And the three fuses that send power to that are going to be, they're all 30 amp. So there's one right here, one right here, and one right there. So check that. They should all be intact. And if any of them are blown, you definitely have to change them before you can proceed to troubleshoot. Now for the high beam bulbs, those are actually, they've got a relay and a fuse. I'll first point out to you the fuse. It's going to be this 15 amp right here. As you can see, this one is intact. And when that fuse is intact, it provides constant power to 2 pins of the high beam relay. So this is your high beam relay. One good thing to do, a troubleshooting step, would be to swap that relay with a known good relay. So a good candidate for that would maybe be your AC relay right there. Let's go ahead and pull off the high beam relay. We can take a look at it. You can see I've got 2 pins there that I've coded in red. Those 2 pins receive constant power from that 15 amp fuse right next to it. So if this fuse is intact, you should see power at both of those pins. Now, when the relay is triggered by the low current module, that's accomplished by the low current module providing a ground to this pin right here. So when the ground comes through on this pin, the relay is energized and it sends power to this pin. So the white pin here, this is the pin that goes directly to your bulbs for the high beams. Now let's head inside the car and I'll talk to you about how the headlight switch is wired. So we've got got 2 switches really. There's one here and there's one here. I'll first talk to you about this one. Go ahead and pull it out. This one comes out easy. On yours, you may have to pry it out a little bit. I would recommend using a plastic non-marring tool. And let's talk about how it's wired. So this switch works by providing a ground signal to various wires that go to the low current board. So that ground comes in, there's a black wire. There's actually 2 black wires that both receive ground, and those are at pins 1 and 7. So here's one ground wire right there, and there's another ground wire. So you should get ground at both of these wires. Now, when this is in the off position, it sends a ground signal on the tan white wire, which is pin number 9. So when the headlight switch is off, this tan white wire right here should be receiving ground. When you turn the switch to the parking light only position, it will no longer send a ground there. It will instead send a ground to the black light green wire, which is pin number 5. So let's see if I can get this. So this wire right here should be receiving the ground when the parking lights are on. And finally, when your headlights are on, the red white wire on pin number 10 sends the ground signal to that low current module. So you should see a ground at this wire here when your headlights are on. So that info is useful for troubleshooting to see if you have an issue with this switch. It's so easy to change, you may just want to pop a new one on there as a troubleshooting step. There's also a switch here for the high beams, turning the high beams on or off, and also having the flash to pass feature, which is how you just flash the high beams without turning them on. And this switch, the multifunction switch, receives a signal wire, which is a violet white wire from that low current module. And depending on the position it's in, it sends feedback on either a red pink wire or a white red wire. So that's feedback to that module to tell it whether or not to engage the high beams. So yeah, I hope all this info was helpful for you guys. Please be sure to let me know if you've got any questions, or more importantly, if you have any advice about troubleshooting the headlights, the high beams or the low beams on your Mustang. Thanks for watching.